This is The Scoop for Thursday.
I'm Lisa Marzilli with the WMNF News headlines. The funeral for 20-year-old Harrison Boonstapple, one of the two Ybor City shooting victims that died, will take place tonight. Boonstapple, along with 14-year-old Elijah Wilson, died in the gunfire, which broke out after several individuals engaged in arguments on 7th Avenue just before 3 a.m. on October 29th. An additional 15 people were injured. In response to the shooting, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor blamed lax gun laws, and the mother of one of the victims agrees. Brucey Boonstapple spoke yesterday on WMNF's Midpoint.
Well, if you can run faster than a bullet, police being available is great, but it's so quick. And they say that about every mass shooting that's been going on. So you think about getting rid of the AR-15s because it's not one bullet. These were handguns, but they different calibers and just flying into the air. And, you know, people now have been trained to run. But anyway, I agree with her. And I've spoken with the police. And, you know, nobody's happy to have this news. Everybody wants to help. But they said they had undercover dressed policemen, too. But if somebody goes, shooting, even if you're 2 feet away from the people, you've got multiple people shooting, and you can't get to them.
That's Brucey Boonstapple speaking yesterday on Midpoint. The funeral for her son Harrison, killed in the Ybor City mass shooting, is tonight. You can hear this full interview on our website, WMNF.org. A physics teacher at Florida Virtual School was fired last month for using a gender-neutral title in class. WMNF's Chris Young reports the school said the title violated a section of the Florida law signed in May, an expansion to what critics call the Don't Say Gay bill.
A.V. Very has been teaching for 15 years, and after a long journey of self-discovery, Very, who uses they-them pronouns, discovered that they were non-binary. So Very started using the gender-neutral title MX as opposed to Mrs.
I talked to my principal about it at first. I let him know that I was doing it. And he didn't say anything at first. And then about a month later, he told me he needed me to change it.
Very asked to use other gender-neutral titles.
I was told that professor was not okay. Doctor was not okay for me because I didn't have a PhD, but there are lots of people at FLDS who do use doctor, which coincidentally is also in violation of the same law that I got disciplined for.
But Very refused to use Mrs., a title they feel didn't fit. So after a long back and forth with HR, Very was fired. As far as Very knows, no teachers or students complained. This comes as Florida faces one of the worst teacher shortages in the country. Very says after their suspension, their students were divided into already overburdened classes.
All these teachers who already have full loads then had to take on my students. My students were divided amongst the rest of the physics team. That stinks. That absolutely stinks.
Very is meeting with activist groups to take on their case. They have also filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. A Florida Virtual School spokesperson said that FLVS is obligated to follow Florida laws and regulations pertaining to public education. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young.
The Florida Supreme Court heard arguments yesterday over a proposed constitutional amendment that would allow the recreational use of marijuana in the state. Attorney General Ashley Moody, who opposes the initiative, argues that the ballot language is misleading because it does not make clear that pot would still be illegal at the federal level, even if it does become legal here in Florida. The Tampa Bay Times reports that during yesterday's hearing, Justice Charles Kennedy said he was baffled by that argument. Jeffrey D'Souza is the state's Deputy Solicitor General.
What the statute requires is clear and unambiguous ballot language and a ballot summary that is an explanatory statement of the chief purpose of the measure. The Attorney General opposes ballot placement because we think in several ways this ballot summary is misleading.
But attorney John Bash, representing the group backing the proposal, argued the proposal is easy to understand.
Common sense is that voters going into the voting booth, knowing they're voting on changing the organic law of this state, will take that duty responsibly and seriously and really think about what they're reading and if this is what they want.
More than 1 million Florida voters have signed petitions supporting the amendment. Marijuana dispensary Trulieve has spent about $40 million on the effort. If the state Supreme Court signs off on the ballot wording, it will appear on the 2024 ballot and will need 60% voter approval to become law. It's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 85 today. Overnight lows will be in the mid-60s. Mostly sunny on Friday with highs again in the mid-80s. I'm Lisa Marzilli with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.